It is June 9th, 2019, and this garden is sure starting to look like a cottage garden. It has been in my plans for the past 2 years. I pretty much yanked everything out with the exception of this hydrangea over here and that evergreen. All these plants are new last year and this year, and I'm just loving the way it's looking. So let's take a closer look at what's happening. Lavender phenomenal is starting to flower. And then there is that Agastache rosy posy. That should start flowering later this month. My pink hydrangea is going to show off. Look at this. Now I've had this for about 5 or 6 years now. It's done fairly well for me over the years. However, I feel like it is too tall for the front of the bed, so I think my OCD will not allow me to keep it here. In the fall, I'll probably transplant it a little bit behind so that it's in front of the evergreen and not overtaking the front of the bed. But I really love this hydrangea because after the blooms are spent, if I cut them down, it will rebloom for me again. And that's exactly what I love. Plants that bloom all summer long. The yarrow is taken off. And man, did I underestimate this plant. Last year when I put it in, it was not this tall. I'll show you. This is a 2nd-year plant now. And that is a 1st-year plant. Big difference in height, so I definitely underestimated the growth of this one. Another one that I will probably move to the back. I'll figure it out somehow. But look at these blooms. Just amazing. And I love the ferny texture and deep, richer color of the green that it brings to the garden. I did add a few coleus as annuals and just to bring in a little bit of color while I'm waiting for these rosy posy Agastache to bloom. But I see that they're starting to put on some flower buds. Nice, huh? Behind the Agastache rosy posies are my red flowered lamb's ear, and they are also starting to put on flower buds. I feel like last year these plants were far more along than they are this year. These plants were definitely flowering for me last year at this time. What's different about this year? Okay, behind the red flowered lamb's ear are my purple Pike's Peak penstemon. Look at this. Just gorgeous. I love the deep purple color it is bringing into the garden, and the hummingbirds are all over this plant. They sure love it. Behind the penstemon, I have more yarrow here. 1st-year plant, as I mentioned. I believe this one is red velvet, and another red velvet over here, and then scattered around red velvet yarrows back there. I think these will be shorter in height, so I might swap them out with this one and this one. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so this is the terracotta yarrow, and it is starting to bloom. Love that orange terracotta color, and this will, as it matures, turns yellow. Here's my 2nd lavender phenomenal. It has really filled in nice. And this one last year had like maybe 5 flower stalks. Look how many it's got this year. And they are starting to bloom now. Hard to focus, but I hope you get the idea. So many on here. All right, moving over to this side of the garden. Let me just show you what it looks like There we go. I added this coleus here just for burgundy color. And then we have the Agastache kudos mandarin. They're going to be orange flowers. They're starting to take bloom now. So I have like, I think 5 of these all over here in the front bed. And then behind the Agastache kudos mandarin, I have my pink elfin penstemon. Their flowers are starting to fade. I trimmed them down a bit because I didn't want them to go to seed and stop flowering. Here are the seed pods that are developing. I will keep some of them because I do want them to seed. And then the rest I will trim down and hoping for a second flush of blooms later this summer. All right, over here in the middle of the bed, here, and somewhere back there are the Maltese cross. They've grown tall, but they have not flowered yet. But maybe over here, if it focuses, yep, maybe those are flowers. I'm not familiar with this plant. It's my first time putting it in, so we'll keep an eye on it and we'll see what happens. And then I have behind that are rosemary. 3 of them. They have not done much. Not much growth and not much girthing up either. I don't think they're getting enough sunlight. This is an area of my garden that gets afternoon very hot sun. I don't know if that's enough for them, and the sun tends to focus in the front of the bed and then moves its way slowly towards the very late afternoon towards the back of the bed. So they may not be getting enough sunlight. Behind the rosemary are 1, 2, 3, 4 Agastache avas. They're growing tall, and those I expect should get about 4 feet tall. That's why I have those sticks there for support. For me last year, they did reach that high, and that's what I expect will happen this year. Okay, back to the front here. This is my lemon thyme. It certainly is looking real nice and blooming real well. All right, here's another Agastache kudos mandarin that's coming into bloom. Look how gorgeous that is. I can't wait to see those flowers. And then I have my salvias. I believe this one is Salvia Maze Night or Meadow Sage. It is at the end of its bloom now. So what I will do is, once all the bloom stalks have faded, I will trim it down to right about there, hoping for a second flush of blooms. I did add more columbines here, 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 and underneath my evergreen here. And they will be a mix of all sorts of colors, yellows, blues, reds, so can't wait to see those. Those are my hostas. They have grown very slowly, but they surely have girthed up. I don't know that they will flower this year. Again, it's the first time I'm putting them in this year, so I don't know how they will do. And then you probably won't even see, and I don't think it's even worth showing you guys, but I have over here, I have 3 of these, which is going to be very difficult to find, but those are red birds in a tree growing, but you can't tell that they're doing anything. I sure hope they do something. It's supposed to have very cute red bird looking flowers. Okay, Then I added these cannas, orange flowers with burgundy leaves and stalks, just to bring in a bit more color. And then this is my salvia lyrical rose, also just finished blooming. I will insert a photo of what these salvias looked like while they were in their full glory. They were real pretty and I loved them so much. But what I don't like is that their blooms don't last very long. But I really loved them when they were in full bloom, and I was starting to regret that I didn't get more. Alright, and then this is my hyssop, and that should have blue flowers. Bee magnet. Okay, my smaller front bed. I have my columbines back here that are still in bloom. Now these are early spring bloomers and they've certainly put on a show. I don't know that they will continue blooming all summer long. I believe, and I'm not sure about this, I believe if you don't let them go to seed and you trim the flower stalk before it seeds, you may get more flush of blooms out of them. So that's what I did, and we'll see how that goes. I have another columbine right here that I just trimmed and cleaned up. The seed pods were just about ready to open. That's when I trimmed them, and I did just sprinkle them all over the ground in this small bed and the big bed of where I wanted them to hopefully mature into seedlings and then full flowers for next year. We'll see. We'll see if I'm successful. Alright, there's more of that Agastache Ava. This one is growing real tall. I have two of them. So this is my second one right here. This one is growing but not as long as the other ones. And I think it's about there. It's getting ready to... Let's see if we can... Yeah, you see that pink? Those are flower buds that are gonna come in. I swear, these guys were flowering for me this time last year. I don't know what it is about this year. I have some more Yarrow terracotta, which was smart of me to put this one in the back because they are growing so tall. And another terracotta Yarrow over here. And in front of that I have my beautiful purple Pikes Peak penstemon. Just love these. I'm going to zoom in on them again because they are so gorgeous. Look at this. So gorgeous. That is coleus. And this is some sort of yarrow. I don't recall the name anymore. I have two of them. They didn't do anything for me last year, and it looks like they're not doing anything for me again this year. Russian sage. Two of these in this bed. I'm not even going to show you because they're not worthwhile showing, but you get the idea. They're new this year. I think like next year they will look much better. Red flowered lamb's ear over here, and it is putting on flower buds. Lovely. And then in between here, in between the purple Pikes Peak and this lavender phenomenal, I have snuck in Agastache kudos mandarin. So that's going to bring in my orange color, and as you can see, that's about ready to flower right there. Look at that. The orange next to the purple is gonna look amazing if these guys last long enough while these guys are blooming. Alright, in front of the Agastache kudos mandarin, I have my lavender phenomenal. A lot of flower spikes on this one, and this is a first-year plant. Amazing, huh? Look at that. Just gorgeous. And then I have a mix of coleus in the front. In between the lavender phenomenal, I have Agastache rosy posy on this side, and another one on this side. I definitely planted these two too close to the lavender, so in the fall I will probably move them just out in front a bit. Same with that one, just out in front a bit. And then tucked behind the rosy posy are red velvet yarrow that are getting ready to bloom. And then back there I have more lemon thyme. Alright, let's take a look at my summer pots. Here is a progress update. These lantanas are looking so pretty. These are the fireworks lantanas, along with the calibrachoas, orange colored. More fireworks. The red bandana one, which is right over here, hasn't put on any blooms yet, but it will get there. And then these are my fuchsia autumnals tucked behind, and my white alyssum. So delicate and so cute. Love these. I put these in from seed. And nasturtiums, they are starting to flower. Here's a flower bud coming in right here. And then my variegated oregano and my French lavender. Alright, so that is my summer pots. They're looking wild, but that's the look I like. I do love the cottage style look, as you guys can tell. And that's what I've gone here for these pots. Pardon my garbage bag. I've been weeding and cleaning this weekend. So for now, it's just gonna sit there until garbage day comes. Okay, here's that red bandana. It's putting on blooms of this one. But for the most part, these pots are pretty much identical. And this is my nasturtiums in blooms. Just gorgeous color. And I believe this one is the Alaskan mix nasturtiums. It's got a lot of flower buds on there. Love it. Every piece of that plant, from the leaf to the stalk to the flower, even the seed, is edible. My third pot. These are the nasturtium flowers. There's a few of them tucked in here hiding. Another hummingbird magnet. And these are the purple night alyssum that I planted from seed. Just love this. Look how pretty that is. I just love the color contrast it's bringing into these pots, which are for the most part majority of yellow, reds, and oranges, and it's very delicate. And my final pot, more of the same thing. So I'm not gonna zoom in, but I believe this one is the red bandana lantana. Gorgeous colors on this, reds, oranges, yellows, and it will, as it matures, all turn into just yellow. And then my final plant is the endless summer hydrangea. I've mentioned to you guys that I struggled with this one last year because I had trimmed it real low to the ground and transplanted it into this location. So it didn't bloom for me last year, but this year looks like it's going to bloom. It has a few buds, not too many that I see, just a few buds, and I have no idea whether they're going to be pink or blue. This one, the blooms on this one depends on the pH level of the soil, whether it is acidic or alkaline. All right, you guys, here is a final shot of my cottage garden. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to keep updated of how this garden is doing over the summer. I will try to keep making those videos for you if there's interest. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time.